Hey guys, Kgabinator here, and today we're back with Rasslin and Logic with my co-host Josh Jenkins up here. Can we introduce ourselves?
Course. I am the guy that has just been named as being Josh Jenkins. And of course, I have my main host here, of course, being Kgabinator. And I have learned his actual name now correctly. So, woohoo!
I'm gonna miss hearing Kgabo, but it was funny while it lasted. But now it's Kgabo. So yeah. So I actually should have recorded that tutorial so that everybody that saw that would know how to pronounce my name. But it's Kgabo. It's ah oh okay. So
Kgabo.
yes. Yeah, I'm actually surprised you learned it so quickly.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds like when other people call me by my name. So, so in this episode, we are going in the main event of this episode 3. We're going to talk about the problems with the wrestling community, the internet wrestling community, the IWC, the internet fans, basement marks, whatever you want to call them, and their fetish with the Wednesday night wars. I don't know why it's still a thing. It it wasn't even in the first few weeks of October last year. It wasn't even a discussion. It was just something goofy that marks can talk about because they have too much time on their hands. So we will talk about that. But I want to do a brief and quick review. And even before that, I just want to talk about the AEW show this past week. What a pathetic effort. And like people on the internet were defending this. Oh, it's a filler show. But a lot. How come you're not taking? It still sucked. Even last year, the last Dynamite they did before Christmas, it was better. They had some good stuff on there. I didn't even watch, but I did see a few clips. I saw SCU versus the Acclaim. I didn't even see the match, not even before the match, and I already hated that segment. So, like, the Acclaimed were coming out and doing this, like rap gimmicks. It only worked with Cena, not these guys. These guys won't ever be able to make it work. Uh, I, I want. I hope these guys didn't give themselves their gimmicks. If Tony Khan did, they look promising with the promos they cut. Remember that backstage promo with the Bucks? They looked promising. They were actually calling out the Bucks, but they were doing this stupid rap battle with SCU, and even Frankie Kazarian jumped in, and somebody on Twitter actually said, "Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing," and and then that guy made fun of it, and then I said, "Man, this is fucking dog shit." I was looking forward to seeing what these guys are made of, and the one time they don't bring in a new tag team and put them against the Young Bucks, they still somehow make it unwatchable. So I hated it. I don't like that show. This is coming from someone who didn't watch that show, and these few weeks of Dynamite have been just abysmal. I know there are some people in this audience that might really like AEW. If you do, that's fine. But I don't like these shows. They're not good. They need to shut the entire company down and start over and fire all the indie guys and find some real talent They can keep the guys that look promising, like MJF and Jungle Boy and Hangman Page, Cody, and all those guys that actually try to be serious. So yeah, that's what I think of this past week's AEW. And this was on my birthday. This was what All Elite Wrestling had for me on my birthday. Obviously, they didn't think much of me. So what do you want to say about that fucking shit show?
Well, I haven't seen a single second of this episode that you are referring to, but I don't need to have seen anything about this show in order to actually tell if it's good or bad. Now, some of you might think, well, hang on, how can you judge something that you haven't actually seen? Well, it's quite simple. If something doesn't make
just look at the card.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is a way to go about it as well. Like, I mean, it's quite simple. You just look at what the show has to offer.
Like when we see the advertisement for Raw, and then we see freaking Dana Brooke versus, I don't know, Lana. Like, oh boy, good luck with for the people that have to watch that dog and pony show. So anyway, and I'm not being sexist by saying that. There are some really talented women. We'll talk about that at the end of our NXT review. There were some women that actually worked their asses off and had a good match. The booking was bad, but the wrestling was good. So so we will get to that. So what were you saying?
Well, I mean, that's how these shows usually go. They either have good booking and bad wrestling, or they have bad or they have good wrestling, but they have bad booking.
You could have both bad wrestling and bad booking.
I mean, yeah, but like we never really see much of good booking and good wrestling at the same time, as it should be.
Well, we did with this first match, NXT match that I'm gonna see. Yeah.
And there should never be a thing about filler shows. Filler shows should never even exist to begin with. Every show should matter. Every show should count. Every show should develop from one week to the next in a progressive order. Everything should make as much sense as possible from what you did last week to what you're doing this week to what you're doing next week. Is that the case? No. Should that be the case? Yes. It's like, for example, the upcoming TLC pay-per-view, which I think is happening this weekend, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, on Sunday. Sunday.
This is being viewed as a filler pay-per-view.
Yes.
As in, like, people are accepting this as happening just because it's happening. Like, no. A pay-per-view should only happen if there's a reason to have that pay-per-view happen. And they haven't even... Look, truth be told, right, they haven't even built up to this pay-per-view, if not at all. And they expect us to tune in to it. They expect us to follow along. They expect us to just accept it. No. Fuck that. No. Filler... look, just in general, right? Forget the pay-per-views and forget the TV episodes, right? Filler wrestling shows in general should not be a thing that exists.
Nope.
That mentality needs to be, as Matt Hardy says, deleted.
Delete that mentality. And that's the last time we'll speak of Matt Hardy in a very long time. Yeah. So now, but NXT did think of me for my birthday, and they actually gave me a good show here. Oh well, except for a
Oh,
few things, but yeah, it was a good show.
oh,
Yeah.
and make sure to check out Kgabo's 16th birthday celebrated video in the link down below, of course.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for that, and you can subscribe to my channel while you're there. So anyway, I started watching NXT. There was a girls tag match that I didn't really care about, and I fast forward through that. And then we see a segment with a new stable called The Way. Who would give their faction a name like The Way? It's consisting of Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, and Austin Theory. And I said that I said on Discord, again I posted these notes on Discord. So yeah, I just want to get.
I think they're okay. I haven't seen what is going on with them, so I don't know if what I'm saying is about to be true or not. Okay, but just that first thought about that name alone, I reckon that they are called The Way because they want the show to be their way about things.
Yeah,
they want to have control.
The Johnny Gargano way.
Yeah, so The Way, yeah.
What a stupid name. Anyway, I just want to get this out of the way. And though,
sure, yeah.
Austin Theory came back at TakeOver War Games with Johnny Gargano, and as you guys may know, I don't like him or Candice LeRae. I think not because they're heels, because they're playing heels. I really don't like those two guys. Not because they're heels, because they're playing heels. And Candice is okay, her character, but still, there's not really any reason to care about her. And she worked in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, the garbage indie promotion with guys like Chuck Taylor, the Invisible, the guy who blew up. The guy who blew up the invisible hand grenade, and Joey Ryan, the guy who flips people around with his thingy, his private parts. So I already dislike her. They both go out and have a really sloppy indie level garbage matches. I don't like Gargano's promos. He has no facials. He can sell, but you still can't believe him. And they go out and have indie level, indie style garbage matches like we saw in that women's War Games match the other time that we reviewed. So as a result, Austin Theory, who looks like a good guy, he was on Raw. He was at WrestleMania. He was with Seth Rollins. He looks good. He looks like a good ladies' man heel. And he's too good for these goofballs. So it's basically 3 goofballs and Austin Theory. And I think this booking decision was terrible, to have Austin Theory associate himself with these 3 dipshits. It's the WWE. Can't really do much about it. So as a result, Austin is getting dragged down. Anyway, so that was that. But now we get on.
Well, it wasn't that long ago when Austin Theory was in another group on Raw with Angel Garza and Andrade Almas.
Yeah, he was also in that group. I forgot.
Yeah, and that never made sense at the time either.
Yeah, I don't know why they would just slot him in. He's not even Hispanic. So anyway, so Tommaso Ciampa versus Tyler Rust. Yeah, we've talked about Tyler Rust on the last episode. I was hoping you, Josh, would have seen what the Tyler Rust is made of. If
Not yet, no.
so, in case luckily, I still can give you a description of what he's like. He's like a really good in-ring technician, a good grappler, good shooter. He looks like he has a lot of amateur wrestling experience. If he doesn't, he was obviously trained quite well. And I also like Tommaso Ciampa. He's good. He can sell. I like his aura. I like the aura of him and how he's a big, intimidating figure. And I like them both. Tyler Rust, I saw him on Ring of Honor, so we'll talk about him. So Rust is already in the ring, and now Ciampa comes out, and he sets up a steel chair on the stage with one of Timothy Thatcher's shirts, Thatch Can shirts from one of the students. Maybe that was Rust's shirt that he left on the ground. So now the bell rings and they're having a grappling, technical, scientific wrestling. And I said I liked Rust just like I like him in Ring of Honor. And I said that you, Josh, ought to watch this, but you didn't, but it's fine. So now eventually Timothy Thatcher comes out, and he didn't have his music, which I appreciate, because everybody comes out these days with their music, and unless it's a new guy that we haven't seen, I don't think it's necessary to play people's music when they run in. So now Thatcher comes out, and he's watching Ciampa as he's now beating the fuck out of Tyler Rust. And and I realized that Tyler Rust is one of Timothy Thatcher's students in the Thatch Can segments. I really like those. I like those segments when I was still watching NXT. So now Ciampa is trying to confront Thatcher. But then all the referees come in between them. Rust is now taking advantage. Rust grabs Ciampa by the wrist, and he did this nice looking apron move where he had Tommaso Ciampa's wrist, and then his whole arm was yanked onto the apron, and he sold well. I like that. And then they go to the break. We come back from the break, and Tyler Rust is in control. Ciampa hits a Samoan drop on Tyler Rust. Ciampa chops Tyler Rust, but then he's now answering back. But still, Ciampa is strong enough to make a comeback. And then he hits another Samoan drop for a 2 count. And then, hold on, I just need to do something here. My bad. There we go, that's sorted. I should have brought a juice bottle with me. So now Rust is answering back, and he tries to pin Ciampa, but then he kicks out. And then Ciampa tries to hit his fairy tale ending move, his finish, but then Rust escapes, and then he kicks him in the face, which looked good, and the sound was good. I don't know if that was piped in or not, but if it was legit, that's cool. And then so then Rust, hits a nice looking move on Ciampa in the middle of the ring. I wasn't really sure what it was called. So basically the description of it. So Rust had his arms wrapped around Ciampa's head, and then he did a forward flip, and then they both landed on their backs. So and then he hit that move for a 2 count. Can you help me with that? Josh is giving us the visual demonstration, the visualization. I also need to keep my. Hold on. I need to. We need to. Our audience that's listening on Spotify on our 11 now podcasting platforms. One of those they may be listening on to one of those platforms. Yeah, he's got his arms wrapped around his head, and then he does a forward flip, and they both land on their back. Yeah, it was something like that.
Okay. The only thing I can think of is a forward roll power slam, but I don't think that's correct.
It wasn't really exactly a power slam, but
because if you're in this position and then you flip the guy forward, then that's called a snap mare.
Okay.
It's called because you're snapping his head forward, so it's called a snap mare.
Well, I guess that's a snap mare, but I don't know all these moves.
Well, sure, but if it's a snap mare, then you're not going to roll over. It's just the guy that you're.
The guy who was doing it to Ciampa rolled over as well. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, Rust is really working on focusing on the arm of Tommaso Ciampa, which is his bad arm. I think it was his right arm. And then Tommaso Ciampa puts his foot on the ropes, and then they force the break. Forced to break the hold. But then I'm hearing Wade Barrett, and this guy's really obnoxious. He's just shouting at you. It's just saying random stuff. And I'm saying he's really obnoxious. I don't like him. And where's Nigel McGuinness? Is he on 205 Live? If sure, then he needs to come here, because I can't stand this guy. One of these days I'm gonna mute the audio.
I'm assuming Nigel McGuinness is on NXT UK?
Yes, he is actually. Oh, that's where he is. Yeah. So then, apart from that, Ciampa finally hits his Willow's Bell DDT for the win. And this was a very good, in fact, it was a great TV match. Both guys looked good. Rust wasn't buried doing a job for Tommaso Ciampa, but he got Tommaso Ciampa over. But it made Ciampa look strong. But Rust still looked good into this. And there's something that's gonna happen even more with Tyler Rust that I'm gonna like. And then the Ciampa looked good, but they didn't bury Rust, which was good. So awesome job on both guys' part. So anyway, there's a post-match angle with Timothy Thatcher. So now Thatcher gets hot after seeing Tyler Rust lose to Ciampa, and now tries to confront him, but there are too many referees trying to stop him. Hey, don't do this. And so anyway, Rasslin I'll give that a 10 and Logic a 10 because the wrestling was very good and I didn't find much illogical here. So yeah. So then I've got a tweet here, luckily written in my notes. So by the way, you can follow me on my Twitter and Josh on his Twitter. You can follow me on my Instagram. You can subscribe. You can like. You can comment. And you can go to both of our individual channels. And you can subscribe to them. So now at Kgabinator, that's my handle. This was a very good match between Tommaso Ciampa and Tyler Rust, aka Russ Taylor. I've praised him before when he had that ROH Pure tournament with Tracy Williams on Ring of Honor TV. He looked good in this as well, Rust. This was a good job. Look forward to seeing more of both guys. Hashtag WWE NXT. So, yeah. So now we have a promo by the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson. Good promo. These guys look hungry and determined, and they look promising. I haven't seen much of any of their matches. And from the small clips that I've seen, they don't look like a bad team. So maybe I'll see them do something. Yeah.
This is a team that I praise quite highly, actually. They have a lot of potential to really help to establish tag team wrestling back to that level that it should be on, but only time will tell on that. But then again, they are in a company that doesn't really put tag team wrestling forward as they should. So.
And by the way, what did you think of the last match?
Well, I can only go based on what you've told me because I haven't actually seen any of it myself. But yeah, as long as they didn't break any of the rules and they, and they put on some good wrestling in the ring, then I don't really have any issue. So.
Yeah. So now, Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne shown to be coming out of the back, having done their final preparation for their match tonight. And then a vignette of Karrion Kross is playing. Yeah. And now this is what I was talking about, the Tyler Rust thing. I said here that we're shown a small video package that played during the break with Malcolm Bivens, who is the manager of In the Share, the two Jinder Mahal looking guys. Now, since JD from New York said that I couldn't think of anybody else but two Jinder Mahals. I wonder where they've gone. Yeah. So Malcolm Bivens, he reminds me of Miriam. My gosh, I miss her. I hate the way they're using her on Raw, putting her with Retribution. And what about Mercedes Martinez? Where is she? Why isn't she here? Why can't she have a match with Rhea Ripley? I'd love to see those two get at it again. Because the Rhea Ripley isn't doing nothing. She's just going back and forth with Raquel Gonzalez. It's been going on for months now. It's like the Darby Allin and Team Taz thing. Of feuds that are going too long in the Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. Yeah.
I mean, Rhea Ripley has been a disaster, really, for the past year.
Yeah, she's been booked as a disaster ever since, had a certain 75-year-old madman not had a blonde fetish, we would be talking about Rhea Ripley differently today.
Yeah, that Charlotte Flair reign never should have happened. It never should have happened. But it did.
I was wondering if you hated that as much as you did Keith Lee's reign. Actually, the new guy on Discord actually asked you to elaborate why you hated it a bit more. So I'd like to see what more you think about that.
How about I do that after we finish this NXT review first?
Okay, I'll actually put that into my notes to remind me. Josh to rant about Lee. Goddamn. Lee's NA title run. And there we go. I've added a note there to remind me to ask you. So where am I now?
You were speaking about the women.
Yeah, I was talking about how I hate how Mia Yim's being presented. And she did a job to Dana Brooke of all people the other day, and I hated that. And the Charlotte thing, I hated that as just as much as you hated the booking of Keith Lee in the North American Championship. I don't have a microphone. I actually want to smash my keyboard. There we go. There's your keyboard smash. Hopefully it still works. Okay, good. It still works. I didn't mess it up. So now, anyway, women aside, we have Malcolm Bivens saying to Tyler Rust, "You're a star. Get up." And then they have a fist bump, and it looks like they're gonna have a relationship. And it looks like NXT has some plans for this guy, and I'm excited to see what they do with him. I said that last time, and I'm still excited to see what they do with him. And yeah, so, and after that, Dexter Lumis is shown sitting in a porch inside the Capitol Wrestling Center with the lights focused on him. And then he's actually making a drawing, and it says that he is going to be the host of New Year's Evil on January 6th, which we will review. And AEW is doing something on January the 6th, so maybe we'll review that as well. Oh gosh, I can't wait for that fiasco. But we will have, it looks like we will have some good matches on New Year's Evil. A cute dog he got there. We got Finn Balor versus the winner of this next match. Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne. Winner challenges Finn Balor for his title at New Year's Evil on January 6th. And now,
Okay, so this is basically a number one contenders match, right?
Yes.
Okay, what has Pete Dunne done? Yeah. Okay, what has Pete Dunne done to be in this number one contenders match to begin with?
Yeah, it hasn't done much, and I actually feel like I disrespected this match because I fast forward through it because I was running out of time. Your door is open. You want to close it?
No, that's good.
Okay. It's a pet peeve of mine. I hate having open doors in rooms that I sit in, um, unless it's a classroom or something.
Okay.
How many times do I have to keep clearing my throat? So now both wrestlers are making their entrances, and
Oh, shit. Yeah.
O'Reilly came out with Undisputed Era, by the way. And I had this weird moment, but Adam Cole, even though he's not wrestling here, he did his boom thing. And that I found that to be peculiar. Why do you do your pose if you're not wrestling? What do you think about that?
Well, it's a sign of him trying to take the spotlight, even though he's not the one being in the spotlight. But it's also a group signal, right? Because they are a group, and that is what they do as a group. He does the boom. They do that pose,
Adam Cole, baby,
behind him. Yeah. But
so now Pete Dunne comes out with the NXT champions Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. They don't have a team name, so I decided to call them the Bald Mercenaries, because they're mercenaries of Pete Dunne and they're bald. What are you gonna say?
They still don't have an actual team name?
No, they don't.
Oh, fuck. They've been a team for like, what, 2 years now? And they don't have a name?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. How can you have a team and not actually name them?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Fuck.
So Pete Dunne came out, and actually, this is this funny moment that I had where I heard this clip of Jim Cornette roasting Pete Dunne, and he said he looked like Becky Lynch with public pubic hair glued to her face.
Yeah.
Oh. Jim Cornette is so funny. I love that guy. What do you think of that comment? I actually want to know.
Well, it's I don't personally see that, but
he was making fun of how orange he was, and tan he was, yeah. Which was distracting for me. Why?
Yeah.
Anyway. So and now Jim Cornette roasts Pete Dunne. And then now they do a pre-match angle with Killian Dane and Drake Maverick and everybody, God and everybody came out to fight the bald guys. And now Killian Dane and Drake Maverick come out and beat up the two bald guys. And then Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, who were the guys, came out with O'Reilly. Bobby Fish was hurt, so he didn't come out. And now Breezango comes out. The one Breezango guy does a dive over the top rope, which I don't like. And then they join the fight, and I'm like, what is going on here? Did these guys shoot somebody's dog? What did they eat the last piece of cake? What's going on here? And then I fast forward to the start of the match. So the bell rings and the match starts, and now we're having a grappling match. And I said,
Yeah.
as much as I like grappling matches, I have to fast forward because I'm running out of time here. Then they start fighting on the outside, and I fast forward some more. Then they go to the break. But then before the match, the commentary team that said that this match would be uninterrupted, so they lied to us. But this is the WWE, so I shouldn't be surprised. So
Uninterrupted meaning no commercials?
no commercials, no ads. So and then you asked me running out of time, and then I said, yeah. You want to elaborate on that?
Oh yeah, I was simply asking that because I was confused as to why you would be running out of time, because I don't look. I understand that we have a podcast to do, as we are doing now, but I don't feel like we need to rush things in order to in order to get to it.
This is we're supposed to have done this a long time ago, so
True.
I want this to be up on Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to fast forward through the rest of the match. I'm guessing it was a good match, but I wanted to see Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley. Storm, because she's got the funny O in her name. And then we see a little vignette of Bronson Reed, and he's coming back. I wondered where he was. And when I was seeing one of the 1,000 Gargano segments on this show, and I was saying, where's Bronson Reed? Why can't he tell this mush mouth goddamn little bum to shut up? Because he's the Lewis Hamilton of NXT. Is Johnny Gargano and his freaking faction. Yeah. If you subscribe to my channel, you know what I think of Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. You look like you wanted to say something there, or not?
I was just surprised that you that you linked Gargano with Hamilton there.
Yeah.
It was just
because Hamilton is everywhere. I was actually watching a video by myself, and then there were two unskippable ads, and a Lewis Hamilton fashion ad came on. I'm like, come on, I don't want to do. Do you know what I think of this guy? Is YouTube really trying to piss me off with this guy? And now Bronson Reed is back now, and hopefully he will balance out the Gargano and Ray segments. And now Karrion Kross had a squash match with a guy named Desmond Troy, I think. And then after that, Toni Storm is shown because she has a funny O in her name. I actually emphasize that. And then she's shown coming out of the gorilla position to the main stage. Rhea Ripley as well. And then she made me smile. And then one of the best segments on the entire show, another vignette promo by Finn Balor. I'm gonna say everything that I said in the War Games review when he had that vignette. I love these packages that he does where he's looking at the camera and he's so intimidating and he's coming for you and he's gonna he's gonna take over NXT, and NXT is his playground. And my co-host finally closed his door. So basically now I've just said what I said in the War Games review. I love, 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 I love Finn Balor. He's so good. He's not only good in the ring, but he cuts great promos. Even if they're scripted, he still makes the most out of them. Yeah. So, now the main event: Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley. And
this was the main event.
yes.
So, for fuck's sake, so you're telling me that the number one contenders match for the NXT title is not the main event?
No.
Well, why? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay.
So the bell rings, and both girls made their entrances. Rhea Ripley came out, and she looking like a badass with all the black makeup and the nice, pink, dark pink gear. Rhea Ripley looks like such a badass, and she's good in the ring. She has great facials. She can sell like crazy. It can make you believe she's really hurt. And she uses big power moves. She doesn't do flip. She's different from all the other girls. And she's actually quite quick for her size. I've seen in this match. It wasn't a very move-heavy match, but it was still a good match, a good TV main event. And then I didn't really take a lot of notes. They were hitting each other with hard-hitting moves. Rhea Ripley was making really good power moves. Toni Storm. There was actually a video package before where Toni Storm was explaining herself about how the new Toni Storm, and it reminds me of the whole explaining herself thing. It reminds me of Roman Reigns and how you were mad at him for not turning heel and explaining himself on time. This time Toni Storm actually did that job better than Roman did. It wasn't his fault. It was just the WWE's fault, because they love Roman Reigns. Oh my gosh. You're just staring at me now. That seems to have angered you. Well, you're gonna need to have all the anger you can get, because we're about to talk about the IWC. Oh my gosh. Josh will explain why he still hates Roman Reigns in a future episode.
Roman Reigns, man. He can fuck off. Fucking coming back as a heel when he fucking left as a face, and he didn't fucking.
Oh, god damn. I think I might actually have to grab some popcorn in the next few weeks.
And also,
I'm starting to
fuck you, JD. Fuck you, JD, for actually accepting Roman's heel run right now. Fuck you.
Who is JD though? This audience may not know who JD is.
JD from New York is a guy who respect a lot. Actually,
Yeah, me too.
I appreciate his honesty to the wrestling business. He's a guy who I will follow until the end of time. But I don't always agree with his point of view.
Yeah, and some of his AEW opinions are ridiculous. Like he shilled for late dinner debonair. He likes the Young Bucks for some reason, and it's fine if he likes the Young Bucks. But when other people say they don't like him, they don't like them, he shouldn't really feel the need to jump on them just because they don't like his favorite tag team. And like if somebody says, Finn Balor's garbage, I'll just respond to them and say, okay, that's fine. You don't like him, that's fine. I'm not gonna jump on you for that. Speaking of JD from New York, I can see why he likes Tony Storm so much. I actually gave quite a descriptive comment on the Discord, and you I can.
Anyway,
and I'm really liking this wrestling match. I don't need to say anything about Rhea Ripley. I've said what I thought of her time and time again. She's she's the best women's wrestler on the planet in my opinion. I know
that's a very bold statement to make, but she is very good. So
I know you got your Io Shirai's and your Thunder Rosas and even your Charlottes and your Becky Lynch's and your Baileys and your Sasha Bankses. But I think Tony Storm is good as well. But Rhea Ripley, to me, is my favorite woman. She is in my top 10 wrestlers, male or female. I actually might put on my wall here. I've actually made some updates to my wall.
I can see.
Yeah. Got a lot of new faces on there. I actually might post, if you're on my Discord, which is in the link and below, I'll actually show you guys the updates on my wall. I'll give you a weekly update, and you'll even be able to see it in the backdrop for these videos. So yeah, and then in the middle of the match we see an advertisement for next week, a very Gargano Christmas. And this really drove me crazy. It's like we haven't seen enough of these guys. You've seen now what I think of these. How many different segments have they had? Like three. They've had 3 segments, and I forgot to talk about the Shotzi Blackheart versus Indy Hartwell. I didn't care about that. I fast forward through that. So they've had three segments on this show, and the freaking champion only gets 30 seconds. Driving me.
That's a problem.
That's driving me insane. It really is. And just fuck them.
Oh, and also it's not Christmas. Because we are into 2020, it's shitmas.
So, 3 yahoos in Austin Theory. I ain't watching that. So now, Raquel Gonzalez comes and interferes, and Tony Storm wins. Like, again, Rhea Ripley lost again. Why are they booking her so badly? Can it get any worse past this point? if I could book Rhea Ripley, I would book her to beat up some job guys. And yes, I said guys. I know a lot of guys on that AEW roster that could do a job for her. Orange Cassidy, I'm talking to you, you piece of shit. And Rhea Ripley lost again. And then I would have her beat up job guys and job girls every week, and then she can earn a big title match, and then she could beat somebody and become the champion again. But nevertheless, that was a good match. So Rasslin 8, Logic 0, because of the booking of Rhea Ripley. Anyway, that was NXT. Rasslin 7, Logic 5. And now Josh Jenkins here to rant about Keith Lee's North American Championship run.
Yeah, well. Oh, and just before that, oh, sorry. I think your cough is contagious. Anyway, no, your grunt. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just want to quickly mention that Bronson Reed reminds me of Jeff Cobb.
Yes, he does. And the AEW dropped the ball on him, making him do a job to Jon Moxley in February. And people were making fun of him, calling him mini Roman Reigns. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, people were calling him mini Roman Reigns because he had the hair and he was sweaty. People are making fun of him, calling mini Roman Reigns.
I don't get that comparison. If anything, Jeff Cobb is similar to Rhino.
Jeff Cobb is very good. AEW really missed the mark on him.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, what were you gonna say about Bronson Reed? Was that it?
No, I was just saying that Bronson Reed is quite similar to Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
Basically, you could switch them around and nobody could really tell the difference. Right, okay, Keith Lee. And I'm staring down at that tiny little dent on my laptop right now. and you're eating popcorn from thin air, of course. Fucking okay.
We already start off with a cuss word. That's how I know this is gonna be good.
Okay. Keith Lee became the champion
in February.
Okay, no, hang on a second. I just want to quickly mention this. Okay, before he entered the North American title scene, he was in a feud with Adam Cole for the NXT title. He then basically did nothing to earn a shot at the North American title. He then became the North American title after beating somebody.
Roderick Strong. And that's when I still didn't get Roderick Strong. I like him now.
Oh, yeah, because of fuck that feud, by the way. It's fucking terrible. And then his feud as the North American title, champion started, right? And then everything was, the basics, right? You defend the title, you retain the title, you get a challenger, you face that challenger, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes, right? And then It all fucked up in the ass, backwards. When that feud reignited with Adam Cole, where if Adam Cole would win, he would become double champion, and if Keith Lee would win, he would be double champion, right? I had a massive problem with this, because this is where the entire issue with his reign begins. If you're going to become a double champion, right, you defend both titles. You don't fucking drop it at the first week you become the double champion. The entire point, the entire point of being a double champion is you being a double champion. You don't just fucking have two titles and then say, okay, my other title can now fuck off now because I have this title instead. Oh, okay. So in that case, why go into a match to become the double champion to begin with? Jesus Christ. Okay, and then guess what? He vacated the title, and then they had a title tournament or whatever they had for it. And then I think it was Damian Priest, right?
Damian Priest.
Yeah.
As a guy that got 2 months reign. Oh man.
Yeah. Right, okay, right, yeah. And then he held it. And then I was like, fuck that. I don't believe in Damian Priest being the champion, because guess what, folks? He won it in a tournament, right, when the actual champion vacated it to begin with. How am I supposed to take this championship seriously from now on, when the guy who was a double champion, right, who fucking was a historic double champion, which by the way only happened to counteract what AEW was doing, by the way.
It wasn't even a good show, that AEW show. It had freaking Orange Cassidy on it.
No. The North American title, right? Look, that double championship match never should have happened. And look, it was very easy to fucking end that double title reign without jeopardizing his reign. All they had to do was do that triple threat match where the first guy who God. Okay, sorry. All they had to do to end the reign in the correct way, to make everything logical, right, was to have a triple threat match where the match is all about the first pinfall, right, is for the North American title, and the second pinfall is for the NXT title. So let's say it's Keith Lee versus Adam Cole versus Tyler Breeze, right? If Tyler Breeze was to pin Keith Lee, right, for the first pinfall, Tyler Breeze would now become the North American title. But guess what, folks? Keith Lee would still be the NXT champion, right? And then the second fall would be for the NXT championship. But no, Keith Lee, a week after becoming the double champion, vacated it.
Oh my God.
Look, either he should have done that triple threat match the way I've explained it, or he never should have gone into that double title match, and he should have lost the North American Championship before challenging for the NXT Championship, because that's the way logic works.
Oh my god!
It's my ass.
I just want to check something here.
Holy shit, man.
Okay. And what happened here?
Is there a problem?
No, somebody, Rels commented in the general chat.
Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus. Please don't give me a heart attack like that again, please.
Oh, you almost had another one. So, now,
yeah,
the main event of the evening. From Fishhook, Cape Town, South Africa, weighing in at 65 kilograms, Kgabinator, his partner from Wales. He's the king of Discord rants and the king of podcast rants now. And the king of afros and the guy with good facials, Josh Jenkins. Their opponents, the internet wrestling community. First off, let me say what I think of this community. Let's first start with the Wednesday Night War thing. This Wednesday Night War goofiness, this nonsense, this idiocy has been going on for a year now, over a year, since October 2019, since NXT and AEW started going head to head. Marks and all these dirt sheets and some of the fans like to go to war about which show is better. And what I've been seeing a lot is still to this day, even though it's been over a year, one guy says something bad about one show and says, "Oh, you're the other show, Mark." Or if you say something bad about the other show, "Oh, you're a Mark for the one show." And it's so stupid. Why? And I actually saw a tweet yesterday, and this one guy, he was a disgruntled NXT fan, and he jumped a ship to AEW. "I'm so mad at Triple H for being so lazy and not booking NXT correctly," which I don't blame him for. "I'm gonna start watching AEW from next week." And yeah, he made a little rant about that. Why you didn't have to say, "Are you gonna watch Dynamite?" Even when I quit watching Raw and SmackDown, I didn't go on social media and say, "Fuck these two shows, I'm done, I'm gonna start watching NXT." Well, I sort of did, and when something really goofy would happen on Raw, I would say, "This is why I don't watch Raw anymore." See, this is why I was still August, September, October, November, December. I was still 5 months of being a wrestling fan. Because I started watching in August of 2019. I was still green as a wrestling fan, and I was venting to people who didn't care about wrestling. So that's why I have Twitter now, because more people care about wrestling on there than Instagram. And that was on my private Instagram account. Uh, I actually tried to make a Patreon where if you subscribe to that, you'll get access to my personal Instagram account. um, so anyway, Um, you don't have to make an ass of yourself and be disgruntled about being mad at the booker of the one show and jump ship to the other show. But anyway, still, I hate how the tribalism. What some Sean Ross Sapp, I think I've got the tweet somewhere. Sean Ross Sapp said, no, it wasn't him. It was somebody else. Alex McCarthy, I think it was. Um, of one of these guys. Let me find it. Alex McCarthy here says, I might stop posting the ratings for AEW and NXT. It seriously brings what? Seriously bring why? I don't know why, but my thing just refreshed for no reason. It seriously brings out the worst in some people. Quite staggering how personal some fans take those numbers. No need for things to get nasty between you guys. I want both companies to thrive and enjoy them pushing each other. So yeah, I totally agree with him. I don't like this tribalism. I don't like this tribalism shit. I don't like it. It's foolish. These people make asses out of themselves, and people are really toxic towards each other, and when people say, like when JD from New York said called out someone for not liking the Young Bucks. That's just a minor problem that I have with him. Other than that, I respect him completely. Like when he sees something doesn't fall in line with his opinion, he jumps on that person. If it's a really stupid thing, and not even if it's really stupid. But if this one guy named Kai on Twitter said, uh, uh, JD said that something really goofy on SmackDown happened and it didn't make sense, and then this Kai guy said kind of like Young Bucks matches, and then JD and his fans jumped on him, and it's the same thing. One guy calls someone out, and then their fan base jumps on them, and that's why we left his Discord, because he's got a toxic fan base and he needs to sort that server out quick. Um, uh, and yeah, but that guy was right. That even if somebody comes in and says to me, "Oh, FDR matches are boring," what are you talking about? Or Jungle Boy, what do you see in him that I don't? He's garbage. I think he's fine with the Luchasaurus. That guy was right. Young Bucks matches don't make sense. They just do flips and dives and bullshit and indie style matches. No heels, no baby faces, no heat, no sympathy, no sense, no rules. And there's no rules that are being kept up to in these Young Bucks matches, which is why I hate them so much. So yeah, that's a few problems that I have with this community, and another problem is that people, when they see others and even wrestlers themselves, they see people being criticized and say, "Oh, you're a horrible person for criticizing me." So all of a sudden, I'm a terrible person. I should be kicked out of society just because I said I don't like somebody. For example, if Jim Cornette criticized a Matt Hardy Sammy Guevara match at Full Gear, I hated that match as well. Um, and then he somebody in his fan base told a story about about how never mind. But I'll give you another example. So Sonny Kiss was being criticized about how he
Oh.
and then these people come. If you make even one comment about Sonny Kiss, oh, you're homophobic, you're a bigot, you deserve to be thrown in jail for what she said. When we criticize people like Sonny Kiss, we don't say we don't like him because he's gay or because his gender. I don't care if I don't care about your race. I don't care about your gender. I don't care about your religion. But if you go in there and have a garbage match, I will take the piss out of you, because you're being stupid, and I think it's very cowardly to use your identity to deflect criticism. Yes, it's fucking stupid, and things like that, and 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 there are a lot of people in that community that we do praise, like Shayna Baszler. She's bisexual. Goddamn Sonya Deville. She had quite the breakout year, but then she had this whole stalker thing, and it was put to a halt. And she's lesbian, and I like her. She cuts a good promo. She's different. She's I haven't seen a full length match, but from what I've heard, she's a good wrestler. And she not just because one wrestler in that community is trash doesn't. It's not a knock on that community. It's just a knock on that person, not because of his or her gender. It's just because of what they do in the ring is what we have a problem with. Yes. So that pretty much sums up what I think about this. But then there are the good people in the wrestling community with the Wednesday Night War thing that agree with what Alex said. That yes, this tribalism is really foolish and stupid, and it really brings out the worst in people. And people could really seriously get their feelings hurt. And then and also if you criticize someone, if you for example, if you criticize the Young Bucks, oh, you don't like wrestling if you don't like the Young Bucks. Yes, I do like wrestling, but what they provide is far from wrestling. It's indie garbage and dumpster fire of senseless bullshit is what the Young Bucks matches are. And then stuff like that. And now I've forgotten. That pretty much sums up what I think of this community. And you've got quite the rant coming up. And what did I say anything that conflicts with your opinion? Do you disagree with anything? And not that I'll jump on you. I just want to see if you want to correct me or anything. So what do you think about my comments?
Okay. The Young Bucks are a part of a company that is a major wrestling company now, and they are not a independent wrestling company. I mean, yes, I mean, look, they are in a way a independent wrestling company because they are on their own. Sure, yes, but in terms of independent wrestling scene, they are not that. Okay? Because there are two meanings behind the word independent in wrestling. You are either on the independent scene for small local community wrestling shows and companies, and then you have independent, like WWE is, being in and of it, being a wrestling company in and of itself. Okay, AEW is not a independent wrestling company in the terms of the wrestling scene.
Yeah, and they're still stuck in this indie mindset, and how everybody knows it's fake. So why should we give a fuck if people like what we do or not? People believe in what we do or not.
That's where I was leading on with that. Yes, AEW isn't providing its own I don't know what the word is, style, I suppose, its own style of what they're supposed to be, because I can tell you this for a fact right now, and I'm sure Kgabo agrees with me here.
Yeah.
They are touting themselves as being a sports-based wrestling company.
Yes.
And what they are actually giving us is more akin to
that.
Because and the reason we say that is because what they are actually giving us is more similar to what WWE is doing, in which they promised not to be.
Yes.
And yet they are basically becoming that.
And some of the things that they do isn't even it's so low that even the WWE won't do such outlandish bullshit like that freaking fucking dinner debonair. I'll always hate that segment and everybody involved in it. Yeah.
I agree, but I also disagree with you on that statement, because I feel like that is what WWE would do and beyond that, because that is in their style of show making. To do bullshit stuff like that. I mean, they are doing worse things actually, because they are Bray Wyatt, right? He has a character now called The Fiend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time he does a Firefly Funhouse segment, guess what, folks? That's inside his mind. How are we able to see inside somebody's mind on a wrestling show? Explain the fucking logic about that to me, please. Somebody, explain that.
I actually never thought about that. Yeah.
You haven't?
No. Because I don't watch this.
Well, yeah, but okay, going back to last year, right? I got extremely pissed off, and I actually punched the wall, and I hurt my hand. Right?
Oh.
When Seth Rollins, right? He managed to enter the Funhouse, which is, guess what? Is inside Brain's fucking mind. How can Seth Rollins teleport himself into somebody's mind? Bang! 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 Explain the actual logic about that on a wrestling show. This isn't a fucking science fiction televised program here. This is supposed to be a wrestling show on a wrestling company. Shit like this shouldn't be possible to even happen. Fuck's sake. Oh my god! And this goes into the issue with the wrestling community. Like they accept this type of illogical, childish bullshit because that is what they've been presented for all these years. So they are just going to accept it for what it is because that is what they know this company as being as. And I'm sick of that.
And another thing, I forgot about the freaking shills that defend this every week, no matter how bad it is. Like the Ryan Satans of the world. And the Dave Meltzer's with Dave Meltzer, I have a big problem with. He defends like everything. He was on one of Jim Cornette's podcasts, and Jim was talking about how much he hates the invisible hand grenade guy and Chuck Taylor and Kenny Omega wrestling the dolls, and it worked. He was like, it works for that audience, and I'm like, what is the problem? Why don't you call this out?
Yeah, that audience, it works for that audience. That audience shouldn't exist because guess what? This is not a science fiction show. This is a wrestling show. I don't know how many times I have got to say this to people. Right? Vince McMahon, like 40 or so years ago, and yes, he's been there for that fucking long, right? Jesus Christ, right? He's turned WWE into a Hollywood movie production that's pretending to be a wrestling show, okay? He's been doing that for the past 40 fucking years, right? He has ruined wrestling. He has killed the reputation of what wrestling is and what it should be. He has murdered kayfabe to the point that people don't even fucking... I think you can tell how fucking disappointed I am.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like that's one of my biggest issues I have with the wrestling community.
Who is paying them to defend all this? Who? And why? For what?
Nobody is paying us to critique these shows either. I just want to point that out.
Yes,
Nobody is telling us to critique these shows. No, we are critiquing them because we have the fucking right to. Just like a movie, just like a TV show, we can critique anything we want. Just like a album, right? Fucking if something is wrong,
we call it out.
It's wrong.
Yes, we do this for free.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Nobody's paying us anything.
I would do this if look, I am actually volunteering myself to do this because I am so passionate about this fucking wrestling industry that I'll do this for absolutely nothing. I will go out of my way to try and improve it for absolutely no gain on my behalf. I will do this for the betterment of the company and get no reward out of it, except, yes, I will, because the biggest reward I will get is seeing the company improve.
Yes.
Wow.
And not just those people, but the fans that I'm kind of being a hypocrite for saying I won't jump on anybody if they say my favorite wrestler sucks.
I've done that a lot of times. So you know. But I know that it's not the right thing necessarily to do.
Yes, but if it, I don't know why people are so blind to the fact that these shows are dog shit, and they just accept everything, and they say if you some dickhead, some the nut brain on Twitter said on the night of late dinner debonair, which I hated. So that guy said, if you didn't like late dinner debonair, you're an idiot and you're wrong, and you don't like wrestling. Chris Jericho even said it himself. The Stadium Stampede match. He said, if you didn't like this, you don't like wrestling and you don't have a soul.
That makes no sense. Saying that makes no sense. I mean, there's stuff that I like that other people don't like, but that doesn't mean that I'm not wrong for liking what I... Look, I understand that somebody can like that sort of thing, right? Sure, fine. But that doesn't mean it makes logical sense to happen on that show. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. What matters is if it makes sense in the context of what they are trying to do on that show. And to me, that segment with MJF and Chris Jericho having a steak dinner and having that sing along dance, that didn't make sense to what they were. Look, the creative direction is the most important thing that they have. And yet people excuse it every single week because it is what it is.
It's just wrestling. Why do you take it so seriously? Or if you don't like it, don't watch. Well, that is the case with me. I don't like AEW, so I don't watch it. Unless there's a big event that we need to review.
I hate that saying, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I absolutely fucking hate when people throw that around. Look. If we don't come out and state what is wrong about something, then that something is never going to improve. If people say, if you don't like something, then don't watch something, then that usually means that certain thing is going to get worse. Because people don't speak out about it.
Yes, and those shills have the most power to change what goes on in that company, yet they defend it because they want money.
Don't speak. Look, Vince. Okay, fucking. The thing I don't understand about Vince, right, is that he's supposed to be this very clever businessman, right, for the wrestling business. Okay. Now, the thing I don't understand is why doesn't he put on the best shows possible? And the reason I ask this question is because, quite simply put, right, the better the quality of a show is, the more people are going to be interested in that show. The more people are interested in that show, the more investment they are going to get. The more investment they are going to get, the higher the ratings they are going to have, the more money they are going to receive, the more subscriptions to the network they are going to get.
And the more money they have more money to do bigger things.
Exactly. They can get all the money from the TV deals as they want, as they can get a whole lot more because of the merchandise sales, the ticket sales, the whatever else that there is, right? They can get all that money and so much more by putting on the best shows possible. And I just don't understand from a business perspective why Vince doesn't do this. Because he keeps saying, like, oh, the ratings are what they are because the wrestlers aren't interesting. Well, make them interesting. Make us fucking invest in what they are doing. It's that simple. You can't blame the ratings on somebody not getting over. Well, that's your fault for not fucking having them in the position to get over in the first place. Vince is all about money, right? Fine. You put on the better shows. I am going to critique it less and less and less. And I am going to praise it more and more and more. Because the better a show is, the more happier I'm going to be. The more happier Kgabo is going to be. The more money you're going to get. Which means the more happier you're going to be. Right? The better the shows, the more stress-free the audience is going to be, and the better the shows means the more money you're going to get, which means you're going to be more happier to do what you're doing. Do I need to explain it any? Do I need to explain this any more simpler than that?
No.
But people are going to fucking defend him on these fucking things because it's his show. Just because it's his show and he's the one running the company doesn't mean he can do this bullshit stuff. I mean, he's running it down into the fucking ground. I mean, Vince has been sabotaging. I mean, NXT, right, is a prime example of this. NXT is being killed and people are accepting this because it's his fucking company. He can do what he wants because he's the one in charge. And if we don't accept that, then we can fuck off. No! That is not acceptable to me at all. Is that acceptable to you, Kgabo?
No.
I mean, he has placed he has placed Triple H to be
the booker
in charge. Yeah, even though he's really not, right? But let's just go with it here, right? Vince has put Triple H in charge of NXT, right, to see how he would do running the company. Right? This is a test run for him, right, to see if he's able to run Raw and SmackDown for when Vince, goes away. And by goes away, I mean dies. Because Vince isn't going to go away until he dies. Which I think we all by now should know that is the case. Retirement is never going to be a thing that Vince does. I think we should all realize that by now, okay? NXT is supposed to be the developmental system for the future of this company. It's supposed to be a breeding ground for the future wrestlers of Raw and SmackDown, right? Vince, he goes against this every single time. Triple H is never going to prove his worth of being able to run Raw and SmackDown and run the company that is WWE for if he doesn't get the actual proper chance to do it in the way that he would do it. I mean, and people fucking defend this.
Yeah.
This wrestling community
needs to
You
change.
mentioned. Yes, you mentioned. Sorry, you mentioned tribalism. You were speaking specifically in terms of each individual company. Yes.
Yes, WWE and AEW.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I kind of figured that. To me, when I hear tribalism, I hear the entirety of wrestling all in one. That means New Japan, that means Ring of Honor, that means AEW, that means CZW, that means WWE, that means NXT, that means Impact Wrestling. That means any fucking wrestling company.
Is CZW even a major promotion? Why do you mention them?
Because it's a wrestling company that exists. And it's the name that came to mind. Anyway, I think CZW is an indie
promotion.
hardcore show.
Yeah, the garbage indie promotion.
Whatever. Yeah, when I hear the word tribalism in wrestling, to me, look, my mentality about wrestling is that it's all in one and one for all. Okay? Wrestling should be wrestling on all shows. But that is not the case, and that is not how it is. But to me, I view wrestling equally on all shows, on all companies. I will judge them equally. I will critique them equally. I will rate them equally. I will speak about them equally. But people don't do that. They side on, oh, well, I like this company. Fuck you for liking the other company. Blah, 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 blah. I'm better than you.
Yeah. Is that it?
I mean, is there anything else to really say?
Not much. That's all I had to say. Well, looks like this is it. So, in that case, I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I think this is the best episode we've ever done.
It's the most honest podcast that we've done.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't really rely on that many visualizations from my phone like we did in the war games. That's the problem that I found in the last review. And I hope you guys all enjoy that. So I'd like you to give us a like, subscribe, and comment what you like the most about this. And we will see you next week. I don't know. I think this is the final Rasslin Logic because I'll be going somewhere. I'll be visiting family sometime in Christmas, so we might start again next year. And next year, when we start again, we will review NXT New Year's Evil, and then AEW's New Year's event. We will review that as well. So I hope you guys all enjoy.
And just before we actually end this here, I will be watching the TLC pay-per-view happening this weekend, so I am willing to do a solo review of that. If you want me to.
I could join. I could join. You could just call me on my phone and I'll do it. I'll be happy to do it with you. Or never mind. Actually, you can do it by yourself. Yeah.
Cool. And with that, I will send you over to Kgabo to end this episode of the Rasslin and Logic podcast. Bye bye.
So this is Kgabinator and Josh Jenkins signing out.